guys, my name is Jack, and yeah, it's another snow day, as you can tell from the little intro I did. Yeah, I'm surprised. Usually we only get like one snow day per winter, sometimes even none. And I just thought, I mean, might as well take advantage of this to record a video. I've been thinking of, well, yeah, I've sort of been thinking of making this video on perfect timing. I just finished exams, right? My exams are done at school, so I'm back and better than ever. But more importantly, I've gone through a full semester of high school, so I thought I would make a video telling you the 7 things that I learned after my first semester of high school. Number 1 on our list would be that you cannot actually fit in a locker. I just thought I'd save the most generic one for the beginning, but I just thought I'd say I always remember hearing about, high school and getting shoved in lockers and stuff. The lockers are so tiny that you can't possibly fit in them. They're like this thin. At least mine's this thin. And yeah, right, a lot of these things might not apply to your school. I'm just saying, at least my school, and personally to me. Because I mean, if you're really, really small, unfortunately, you might be able to get shoved in there. But even if you're really small, they'd have to really shove you into that locker. It would be like they would be solving a puzzle, getting your limbs to fit in there, right? So I just thought I'd say you don't get shoved in lockers. People don't try it because it's just not going to work at my school, at least. Speaking of lockers, that leads us to number 2. Having older friends is helpful. I don't know why I said speaking of lockers. Well, because it kind of relates. So I have a story about my locker. I came to it one day after math, first period math. I came to my locker, and at my school, I'm sure all lockers are like this, but I'm just going to explain so you understand. There's a little hook like that sticks out of the locker, and then you put your lock in like that, right? And that's just how it works. I came back, and some guy, the locker is like this, the door, some guy bent this piece up, so it jammed my lock in, and I couldn't pull it out. Even if I unlocked it, I wouldn't be able to pull it out. So I was locked out of my locker. And I was really upset because I had to get to science next period, so I didn't know what to do. And this is my example of how having older friends are helpful. This older guy, grade 12, who's near my locker, he saw I was struggling, and I was upset that I couldn't get into my locker. I was frustrated, and he's like, "Don't worry, buddy, I got this." Massive grade 12, okay? He comes over, and he grabs my lock, puts his feet up on the door, on the doors of the lockers, hangs from it, and just uses his pure body mass and just bends the whole thing back into place. Literally just by hanging from it. My lock goes from that and just bends right back into place. And now there's a little crease from when that happened. Couldn't believe it. Just his pure body mass bent it back into place. That's just an example. There's countless others of how having older friends in high school is very helpful when you're my age, grade 9, 10. That could actually take us into number 3. Student council equals bullying shield. Okay, I have a few examples of this. Student council, this is also like having older friends being helpful, but this is very specific because I'm on the student council, and when you're in grade 9, high schools, it's like, you're going into you're moving on, and it's always a big thing, and most grade 9s are really nervous for it. Having a student council there has been very helpful, and I'm going to use this as an example. I'm sure you've all seen my diss track, Antonio. If not, I'll play it a little bit right now. There you go.
Even the mind that you had as a human is aborted, and the soul that was given to you is filled with next level information, next level mind, and a new creature is born.
Yeah, it's really bad. I'm proud of the video, but it's not a good song. It was just for fun. Anyway, if I wasn't on student council, I would have been bullied so much for that. Yeah, I still got picked on quite a bit, but it was friendly, and some people would say things here and there. But any other school, but yeah, if I wasn't on student council and I didn't have all these big grade 12s backing me up, I would have been bullied so much. I would have gotten people would have tried shoving me in lockers, but that shows that because, and I've had other examples as well of how people don't bother me because I'm friends with like seniors. So yeah, student council is a bullying shield, and having older friends, very, very helpful. Those are kind of one, but I split them up into two. So that was three, no, that was 2 and 3. Number 4, I was so shocked at how rude kids are in high school and how they don't care. Because when I was in elementary school, I'm going to use holding. Kids are just rude in general. I was surprised. But when I was in elementary school, they had a rule. Not a rule, but it was like, it was ingrained in our heads. Like, if a teacher, you held the door for everybody, teacher, student, anybody. You held the door for them if you saw them, right? So basically, if they saw you, you had to hold the door. So they're at the top of the steps, and they saw you down there, you had to hold the door, because then they'd know you, and then you'd have like they would have made a mental note of your face, and because they knew you, and they would have known that you didn't hold the door for them, right? In high school, nobody held the door for anybody. I was completely shocked, and it just kind of surprised me. And then, but I don't wanna. I hold the door for people anyway. I do it, even though nobody else does it for me. And this one time, this is probably the worst example I can bring up. There's this guy, he was on my hockey team one time actually. He knew me, he still hasn't spoken a word to me. I'm kind of shocked about that. But he stood at the top, he was at the top of the steps, and I was right at the bottom. And I heard him behind me, and so I opened the door, and I stood behind it saying like, hey, I'll hold the door for you. Like, without actually saying it, I just looked at him. Obviously I was going to hold the door for him. He was at the top of the stairs, I was at the bottom, he saw me holding the door for him. Then he acknowledges me, it's his phone, and he just looks at his phone, right? As he's walking down, looks up at me again, and looks back down at his phone. And then he had books in his hand too. And he looks up at me and looks down at his phone. And I'm gonna like paint a picture here on the screen in editing, just so you understand what I'm talking about, okay? So he's coming down, and he went one step at a time, okay? Super slow. He took his sweet time. He didn't care that I was down there, okay? It was ridiculous, and I was waiting there for like a full 20 seconds, and he finally reaches the bottom of the stairs, which was right in front of the door I was holding. And then, never mind, he just walks through. It doesn't say thank you, right? Like, never mind just being slightly rude. He didn't even use my door. Like, I stood there holding the door for him, and then he turned around and went the opposite way. So the steps were going down this way, and then he ended up going that way. And he got to the bottom of the steps, turned around, and went through the doors behind the steps instead of the doors I was holding. Instead, he could have told me when I was at the top of the steps to leave, to walk away. Like, hey man, I'm going that way. I'd be like, okay, thanks. And I could go to class, right? No, he waited, walked one step at a time, got down to the bottom of the steps. He didn't even tell me there that he was going that way. That would be bad too, but he didn't even say. He just turned around and walked the other way. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know, I couldn't believe it. So, that brings us to number 5. Vapists are the new potheads. And I just use the word vapist. That's the word I've given anybody who practices the art of ripping fat clouds. Okay? Back in the day, the cool kids, they'd pull out a cigarette, right? They'd pull out a little low-profile cigarette, they'd light it. And they looked cool doing it, right? It wasn't good for them, but at least they looked cool, right? And yeah, nowadays, you got these kids vaping, and it looks ridiculous. Instead of pulling out the little low-profile, like, tiny little cigarette and lighting it, and looking cool while doing it, they pull out these massive, like, pens, no, bigger than it. They pull like a fat pen, like this big, pull it out, and they're like, they blow these like fat clouds in the air, and it looks ridiculous. Sometimes it's not it, sometimes it's like this big, like, square thing, and it's got like a little thing sticking up there, like, and it makes like this really annoying sound. It's ridiculous. It honestly looks hilarious. And there's like a group of kids that vape at this one corner every morning. It's honestly hilarious. And I know some of them, there's some that you get, they're like the size of a USB, and they're like, low profile, like I was saying. But it's hilarious. I just think it's really funny that, like, they took something, a way of being cool back in the day, and they made it child-friendly, because vaping isn't as bad for you as a cigarette would be, right? So they've taken something that was cool because you weren't supposed to do it, and then they've gone and child-proofed it, and now they think that's cool. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous, and I think it's really, really funny. Speaking of vaping, that brings us to number 6. The washroom equals the jewel room. Basically, that's where they all go to vape. Other than those guys that go to the corner, and yeah, a lot of guys go outside. I don't see many girls, that's why I keep saying guys. I've seen a few. But anyway, they go into the bathroom, and they just vape in there. And they just go into the bathroom, and they vape in the bathroom. And it's honestly so awkward. I've walked into the bathroom, turned around, and walked right back out because I saw like a pack of vapists sitting on the sinks, leaning on the stalls, just vaping during class. Now, finally, that brings us to number 7. The 7th thing I learned in high school is that cliques are different now. They almost don't exist. They do, but they don't. Cool. I say cliques, I mean cliques, and cliques meaning like stereotypical ones, where you have like popular girls, the jock guy, the nerdy one. Like, you can look it up online, high school stereotypes, and you've got all of them. They'll list all the stereotypical people, the goths, all those. They've changed, you could say. Like, I've noticed I don't see as many of the stereotypical ones that you find online or in old, like, 80s movies. But also, there's some new ones. A friend of mine put this perfectly. He said, he's like, do you remember when, like, back in grade 6 and grade 5, every kid wanted to be a Minecraft YouTuber, and they had a YouTube channel? And then I was like, yeah. He's like, you know, you went through that stage, but you just haven't left it. And I thought that was really funny. And honestly, now, in the new era we're in, there needs to be so many more new stereotypical people. There's the kid with the YouTube channel, the kids that sit on their laptop during lunch, like on the floor in the middle of lunch. Oh yeah, and there's the guy with like fake Instagram followers, and that's another one that needs to be added to the list. Oh, there's the SJW, can't forget about that one. So yeah, I feel like high school stereotypes have changed, and there needs to be, some don't exist anymore, and some need to be revamped, like the kid with the YouTube channel. That's me, Antonio. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.